Well, hello there. I really wanted you guys to have the opportunity to work on this lab today because I know fifth period, y'all are pretty much ahead of everybody else since it's a longer class period. And I definitely want you to be able to take care of this lab. Um, you guys have always done an awesome job of taking care of all lab materials and making sure that you're doing what you're being asked to do. And so I'm going to leave you guys in charge. Um, I have set a couple of people kind of as supervisors to make sure that we know where all of our materials are. So, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to walk you through this lab document just to make sure you don't have any questions about what it is that you're going to do. Okay. So, you're going to see on here that what you're doing with the lab is you're going to be investigating Newton's second law of motion. Keep in mind, Newton's second law has a connection between force, mass, and acceleration. So I want you to be thinking about how forces are impacted by the mass of an object, how acceleration is impacted by the mass of an object. I also want you to think about how acceleration is affected by the amount of force that you use. Okay, so I'll give you guys the opportunity to read through the review. I want you to make sure that you don't forget about this part right here, which is the pre-lab critical thinking, where it asks you to make some predictions and do some investigating before we start. Okay, please make sure that you go ahead and do this. This is probably a good time for you to go ahead and pause this video clip and take care of this part here before we move on to looking at your materials. Okay? All right, so now that you've done that pre-lab part, pay attention to the materials that you're going to need. The meter sticks, as you know, they're always in that box standing up against the counter. There should be some golf balls, both regular golf balls and plastic golf balls, on the large table where I usually keep our materials. You should also see a container of marbles, and there should be some triple beam balances. Just keep in mind, really quick, I will add another video if you've forgotten how to use a triple beam balance and measure the mass. You can always go to that little video clip that I'm going to add in after this video if you need to do a little bit of a refresher. The only thing I don't have at school, because I was supposed to bring it with me back to school, is some masking tape. But you can definitely, instead of masking tape, use the regular tape that I have. Stick a little piece of paper underneath it and tape that down as your little starting point, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. Just something that's easy for you to be able to remove the tape back up off the floor whenever you're done. Okay, so for the setup, what you're going to do is find an area where there's a lot of floor space, so that way the balls that you're going to use will be able to roll pretty easily. Once you've found yourself a space, please go ahead and mark a starting point somewhere on the floor with that tape and a little piece of paper. That's where you're going to start all of the materials that you use, whether it's the golf ball, the plastic golf ball, or the marble. Um, the next little sets of statements here, you're going to be using what's called a soft force and a hard force for this. And so I went ahead and gave you a description of what your soft force should be. You'll use your index finger, your pointer finger, and you'll push the ball away from the starting point. Try to be consistent with that. Practice it a few times. It's designed to be a soft force, which means it's possible that the golf ball or something may not move very far. Your hard force will be your entire hand, and you use your whole hand to sort of slap at the ball, and you'll do that from the starting point also. Make sure you practice that a few times. I'm going to state a disclaimer here. Don't go overboard with the slapping. Of course, you don't need the golf ball to fly clear across the classroom. That isn't going to do you any good because then you won't be able to get any good measurements. You just want that second force, the hard force, to be a little bit harder than the first force that you used. Okay? So take a minute to kind of play around with that. Try that out a few times. Make sure you got a consistent soft force and hard force, and that you understand how you're going to do those before you start your trials. Okay, so now to get on to the procedure itself. Notice first thing you're going to do is you need to find the mass of each of your objects. You're going to find the mass of the golf ball, find the mass of the plastic golf ball, and find the mass of the marble. And you're going to record those masses in the data tables. On this page, you can actually put the masses right here in this area for each of the objects. Notice that you're going to be completing 3 trials for the soft force, 3 trials for the hard force, and also notice that you're going to be measuring the distance the object travels in centimeters. Please make sure you're looking at the correct side of the meter stick whenever you measure that distance traveled. You're not using inches, you're using centimeters. Your next step after you find your mass is you're going to place the golf ball at the starting point, apply your soft force, record the distance, and of course you're going to do that for 2 more trials and record. Then you bring the golf ball back and you repeat that entire procedure, but you're using the hard force this time around. And so you'll have 3 trials with the hard force, which is where you use your whole hand and you slap the golf ball from the starting point. Okay? So that's your entire procedure that you'll be doing 2, 4, 6 times. You'll do it with the golf ball, soft force and hard force, the plastic golf ball, soft force, hard force, and then for the marble, soft force and hard force. Okay, so it will take you a few minutes to do this. Keep in mind, you want to try to keep those forces pretty consistent. Okay, of course, once you do all of that, then you will be able to get on to your lab analysis and the discussion that's right here. You have 5 questions to answer. Once you do all of this, of course, you can go ahead and submit your lab document. Make sure if you have any questions, I will certainly be online while you're taking care of this lab. So if for some reason you need to check in with me, send me a quick email and I can get right back to you guys. So that way I can make sure this runs as smoothly as possible. You guys have done an awesome job before, and I expect nothing but the best from you guys again. So good luck with the lab and let me know if you need anything.